exactly that we have to change, change your subconscious, change your attitude, change whatever. Okay. Well, first of all, let's welcome everybody. Good morning, Jake. Good morning, Sarah. Good morning. So, when we're talking about your subconscious, people are like, "What? Subconscious?" Um, yeah, guys, it's easier than you think because you're so susceptible to change. People think that they're resistant to change. You're not resistant to change, you're resistant to your subconscious. Okay? So, because your subconscious will pull you back in the program, whatever program you've established. And those things can be something you did accidentally by habit. Okay? So, in other words, let's say, for example, you had a habit of eating too many cookies. Okay? and and you gained a lot of weight, okay, because you got into the habit of eating cookies. Okay, now maybe you gained 10 pounds because wow, those cookies tasted good, right? So you kept eating cookies, and then now you're 10 pounds heavier. Now you want to lose the weight. Okay, so what do? Well, you can change that habit to something healthier. It's just as easy, trust me. Okay, I've been working this thing since 2007. I've been doing this. It's brought me companies. It's brought me, I don't know, so money and success and all of that. Yeah, but more so an understanding of things. Okay, because when you know how to operate your subconscious, it's like you know how to operate your computer, right? Okay, let's make this really simple. Okay, so you have three states of awareness in here in the kingdom. Okay, I always say that Jesus said the kingdom is within because you have this power. Okay, and you're connected to the creator. Let's call it the creator. So, those of you that don't believe in God, maybe for you it's higher self. Maybe there's nothing and there's just the conscious and subconscious. Okay, all right, so the conscious mind, you only use 5% of that. Okay, so the conscious mind is your processor, your RAM memory in your computer, okay, in your laptop. All right. So now the subconscious, okay, we're going to look at that. That's your hard drive where the programs are stored because you do literally develop programs and they get stored in your subconscious. Okay, now what is the superconscious? So the superconscious is the network that we're all plugged into because we are awareness. Okay, so this gets spiritual in the sense that you're not your body, you're not your name, you're that energy that lives in here. So follow me in that regard, okay? Energetically, let's look at it energetically. Because when you start looking at it energetically, you go, oh, yeah, that's right. There is a separation between me in here and my body. There is a separation in here between me and my thoughts. I'm not my thoughts, right? Because if you can observe your thoughts, who's thinking the thoughts? Awareness. Okay, so do we share awareness? There's theories about that. Yeah, certainly there's theories about it. Okay, but how I'm going to have you think about it is like, okay, you want to change your life? Okay, are you cluttered in here? Are you just congested in here? Too many thoughts, too much crap, too much whatever. Okay, so it's real simple. Okay, affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. If you guys get Greenland, can we then get Hawaii? What is this? And California, that would be a fair trade. Uh, okay, we're not talking about that. Everybody, wave goodbye to Anders. Bye, Anders. We're having a serious conversation here. Okay, so anyway, like I was saying, I try to get the everybody on the chat over here. Okay, but like I was saying, if you look at yourself as a computer, it's easier. It's much easier, okay, to understand. It's much easier to do, okay? Affirmations, right? So let's go over affirmations. What are affirmations? Okay, you're going to write these. Now I know online you have people with their phones and they go, okay, affirmations, and they're typing. Okay? That does not make any connection into your subconscious. Okay? You speak it out loud. They say, okay, you speak it out loud. Okay, speaking is is viable. It's a viable process. And you do speak things into reality. Okay? But you need to write these. You need to use one of these because the pen is mightier than the sword. That's why they say the pen is mightier than the sword. You need to write it out because it goes straight into your subconscious. Okay? It's like a direct line into your subconscious. Okay? So you're going to write it out. Affirmations. So now start your affirmations with I am. Okay? I didn't want to get into the four pillars, but I'm going to just do it briefly, okay? I am so happy and grateful now that I am confident. Thank you. Why confidence? Because confidence is clarity. Okay, we call clarity confidence because you were born that way. Okay, you were born in God's energy, in love energy, in confidence. Okay, love is a strength. I'm not talking about Valentine's Day love. Okay, I'm talking about the absence of all negative emotions. Okay, because at the root of all negative emotions is fear. Okay, I'm talking about worry, irritation, disappointment, anger, hate, boredom, agitation, all of these things, envy, despair, grief, guilt, shame, okay, and at the very bottom, fear. Now, if you're experiencing any of these, right, and we get these on and off, but let's say, for example, you feel these more than you feel clarity. If you feel these things more than you would like to, if you feel these emotions more than you feel good emotions. What are the good emotions? Well, the highest is love. Okay? That's what Jesus was teaching. Love. Okay? Love God more than you love yourself and love thy neighbor as thyself. Okay, that's what Jesus was teaching. Two things. Okay? So at the very highest is love. Okay? Going from the very least of the positive emotions, satisfaction, then hope. Okay, we're going up like this, okay? Satisfaction, hope, enthusiasm, excitement, passion, joy, gratitude, peace, and love on the top. Excuse me. Okay, so those are the positive emotions. Now, if you're not feeling those as much as you're feeling the negative ones, then you have this imbalance, okay? And the imbalance is not because you're a bad person. The imbalance is not because the economy's bad or, it's your subconscious, okay? Because your subconscious, if let's say, for example, you worry a lot, okay, that's subconscious. Why? Because, well, after you worry a few times, your subconscious gets in the habit of worrying, but you don't know this. You don't feel this. Why? Well, because you just worry. Your subconscious is doing this below the surface. Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. Okay? So how do you break out of this? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Now let's go for the second one. Meditation. You need 10 to 15 minutes of stillness a day. Just being still. Okay? Well, why is that important? It's important because you need to amplify your intuition. Okay? You need to feel it more. Why is that? Because when you get clouded with negative emotions, it dulls that sense that you have. That's your natural sense. That's your divine guidance. Okay? Like when you're driving down the street, I use this all the time, right? Driving down the street, you get that feeling to turn right. You dismiss it. You get stuck in the traffic jam. What do you say? You go, I knew I should have turned right. I knew I should have turned back there. Right? Because you did know. How many times have you said that about other things? Okay, this is not magic. This is human being. All right, you were born with this. This is your divine guidance. Okay, now when we were talking last week about the spiritual world and the physical world has hypnotized you to believe that, oh, that's not important. That's silly. Why? Oh, because this is real. This man-made thing is real. Okay, there's man-made and God-made. Okay, but this man-made thing is the thing. Oh, the credit card is the thing, the bank is the thing, the job is the thing, the title is the thing. And you get identified with these man-made things because you think it's the thing. No, the thing is in here, it's in you. Okay, God lives in here. Okay, the kingdom is within. Jesus Christ told us the kingdom is within. Okay, There is no out there out there. Okay, God is not out there. God is in here. God is in you. God is in everyone. If they choose it, you have to choose God. Just like you have to choose happiness, just like you have to choose love, just like you have to choose hope, just like you have to choose anger. People choose to be angry, right? Oh, they can get out a lot of energy, right? Angry, and then angry people start to hang out with each other. Why? Because they get into it. Okay? All the gossiping people hang out with each other. Why? Because they like to gossip. Why do they like to gossip? Because it's a subconscious program. They're unaware. But that's why. Like attracts like. Okay, the law of attraction is a thing, but it's not the magic genie in the bottle thing. Okay, there's a process to this. Okay, so the next thing, what is the next thing? Well, vocalization. So the vocalization process that we do with people breaks them free of the hypnosis. Basically the hypnosis that you're in. You don't see it. Okay, it's there, but it's only when you're removed from it you go, oh yeah, whoa, yeah, I was into that. I was hypnotized into that. Okay, it's not like a hypnosis like when you go to a hypnotist show. It's not like that. It's not that extreme. Okay, but you're going to find that you get pulled into this reality. You get pulled into this reality. Okay. So today we're going to talk more about the subconscious because it's important that you become aware. When you become aware, you can do something about it. When you do something about it, you change your whole life, like your whole life. Simple little things. Okay, less than 15 minutes a day, and you can change everything in your life. Okay, you can bring money in your life. You can attract money in your life. Okay, you can attract a better job. You can attract a better person. You can attract whatever you want. Whatever you want. Okay, so what about the visualization? Well, you need to visualize. Okay, so we make vision boards for people. So human beings, the subconscious works on visualization and audio, but it recognizes your voice and your image more than anything else. Okay, so we use the mirror. Okay, we use vision boards. Okay, this is not mystical, it's not magical, it's your subconscious. Okay, I don't care what you heard from religion or religious people or whatever, they have their own ideas. Okay, but that has nothing to do with your subconscious. Okay, this has to do with your subconscious. Okay, there are so many things in the Bible that are subconscious. We've been talking about that here and there. Okay, because of the esoteric knowledge of it. Because people don't understand that. They just get the commercial side. They get the exoteric, the surface knowledge. That's what they feed to the masses. And then everybody gets entwined in the story. Oh, they get attached to the story. Oh, Jesus was such a good guy, that kind of thing, right? But when you really understand the Bible and when you really understand what it's really saying, like everything changes. Everything changes. So we're going to talk more about the subconscious, okay? How your subconscious systematically shapes your reality. How does it do that? Okay? So your subconscious, okay, you have a confirmation filter. Okay? The subconscious is hardwired for survival and efficiency. Okay? Because it makes sure that whatever you focus on intensifies. Okay? Because what you focus on and get excited about, what you focus on and get interested in, what you put energy into will go into your subconscious, and then what? It will repeat. Why? Because it goes, well, this is what you like. We're going to focus here. Okay? Some people focus on being poor, right? Because they wear it as a badge of honor. Oh, I was poor. When I was young, we lived in the housing. Okay, I know people like that. Right? When I was young, we lived in the housing. And they're always talking about that because they're proud of themselves where they are, right? But they reference poverty all the time. They wear it like a badge of honor because people are supposed to look up to them. Because why? Because they were poor. Okay, what does that do to someone's subconscious? Okay, here's what it does. Okay, and my mom did something very interesting when I was in the third grade. Okay, because I'm going to tell you the short story first. Okay, so when I was in the third grade, we were in the store and we were standing in line, and there was this lady in front of us, and she had food stamps, and she didn't have enough money, right? And so she put something. She told the clerk to take something out of her whatever she had. And so I told my mom, I said, Mom, why don't we give her some money, right? And my mom kind of elbows me like this, right? And so she said, I'll tell you when we go to the car. When we went to the car, we put all our groceries in the car and everything. She drove me home, but she drove me to this low income district where the housing was on our island. I'm from a different island. I'm in Hawaii, on the island of Oahu now, but I'm from another island. And so we went down there, and she said, you see all those screens? They're ripped. Do you see those cars? They're on blocks. Do you see all that? You see the overgrown bushes and everything? And I said, yeah. She said, if we gave them brand new cars and brand new housing, and we cut the grass for them, we manicured everything, made the yard really nice, in 1 year, it would look just like that again. And I was like, wow. I didn't understand exactly what she was telling me at the time. Okay. I thought, well, these people just don't care. Okay. But it's not that they don't care, it's because of their mindset. Okay. So you could take all the money in the world and you could distribute it to everyone equally. So everybody has an equal amount of money. And in 1 year, the money would all go back to where it is now, to the banks, to the billionaires. Okay. The middle income people would have that middle income money. Okay. And the poor people would be poor, because it's all mindset. Okay. So your subconscious protects your identity. It makes sure that what you identify, okay, it keeps you in alignment with. So what are you identifying with? You see? Okay. It keeps your life predictable. Why? Well, 90% of the thoughts, 95 actually, 95% of the thoughts that you thought yesterday, you're going to think today, and tomorrow, and the next day, until you change them. And the 4 pillars are what we mentioned. Now you can put my name in a AI or a browser or whatever, and put teaching method after that. It will give you everything. Okay? You don't have to be my client. I sit here every day to affect more people, to wake people up. That's all I'm here for. Okay? You can get everything. It runs down everything. Okay? So what else does your subconscious do? It conserves your energy. Your subconscious goes, how can we repeat all of this with more efficiency, using less energy? How can we keep you in the loop? Okay, but your subconscious cannot judge. Your subconscious is not looking at this like, okay, this is bad stuff, we're going to repeat the bad stuff. No, it's just stuff to the subconscious. It's what you put there, it's what you do in repetition. Okay, so a human being becomes what they practice. Whatever it is you practice. Okay, now, if you don't want something in your subconscious, stop doing it. You can just stop. Okay, I'm not talking about hardcore addiction, kind of, yeah, you probably need treatment for that kind of stuff, okay? If that's what's going on. But I'm just saying, good morning, Manuel. I see you. And sorry, we have a chat going on over there. But whatever you don't want to do, okay, that you're doing, that you're participating in, okay, maybe you feel, the key word is feel, maybe you feel like you need to do it. Maybe you feel like you should, whatever, okay? And this is where we get into the territory of toxic friends and family. maybe I, well, yeah, I feel like I need to show up at the family picnic. They all treat me like crap, but I feel I need to, because it's my family, so I feel I need to go. You see? Okay. And this is why they say, like, about toxic people. Okay. It doesn't matter who it is. Okay. It just matters that it's toxic for you. And you need to ostracize yourself from it. You need to cut it off. You need to stop it. You need to disconnect from these people. Why? Because it's affecting your subconscious. Okay? And it will keep you going in circles, in bad circles. Okay? So you want to go in good circles. Okay? So confirmation bias is another thing. Your confirmation filter, let's call it. Okay? You selectively notice what matches your beliefs. So what do you believe? You don't even know what you believe. Why? Because it's stored in your subconscious, okay? But when something comes up, right? Then you pass judgment on it. Then you go, oh yeah, well I don't believe in that. Or yeah, I believe that. Yeah, I believe in that. Okay? Then you choose, right? You make a choice. So like if you believe that people can't be trusted, you're going to notice betrayals more than other things, more than the positive. Now, we always talk about humans and negativity bias. Okay, we all have negativity bias to begin with. So when things become negative, what happens? We spot it first. We engage with it first. We get drawn to it first. And then it solidifies. Patricia Rogers, good morning. What do you think upon grows good or bad its action? I don't understand that. What do you think upon grows good or bad its action? Explain for me, Patricia. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. So, if you believe money is scarce, okay? Money, okay? I had a problem with money until I started learning about the subconscious, and then money just comes when I need it. Okay, that's another discussion. But what if you believe that money is scarce? Like it's hard to earn money. Like it's hard to come by money. Okay, what if you believe that? Then you notice lack and limitation. It's always pointed out to you. The lack of money is pointed out to you. Okay, then you start speaking lack of money, right? Oh, I'm broke. Oh, yeah, money. Yeah, this I lost money or lose money. I know a lot of people who use that as an expression. Lose money. Lose money. Okay? And guess what happens when you do that? You lose money. Okay? You might not lose it every day. Okay? But eventually, because you're speaking it into your subconscious, it starts to happen. It starts to become a reality in your life. Or you start looking at things where you lost money. Okay, maybe it's something you bought and maybe you paid more than you should have. So maybe you lost money, okay? It doesn't mean you're going to lose the money you have. Okay? You could lose it on a purchase. You could lose it some other way. There's tons of ways. Okay? Let's see. We frame as you think you are. We frame our world with our words. Yeah, so words, thoughts. Yeah. Words, thoughts, and deeds. That's correct. So if you believe opportunities find you, let's take the other tact, okay? The positive. Opportunities. Good things always happen to me. Okay? My favorite thing to think is something good is just about to happen. Okay, lots of good things have been happening this week for me. And I was expecting a good year. And I was like, wow, this year is going to be good. This year, and things are going good. Okay, but I have to write it. Okay, I have to write these things. So it's like this. Let me reach down here and grab these. So these are affirmations. This is not journaling. Okay. So this is my current one. Okay. This is not journaling. Journaling is very tricky. Okay. If you know how to journal, then journaling is good. Okay. If you're journaling about drama, about negative stuff with negative words, it's not good. Okay. So these are affirmations. These are daily affirmations, okay? And this was like over a year. This was like a year and a half worth. So you can get a legal tab like this, and you can do daily affirmations. And daily affirmations are instructions to your subconscious. Okay, focus on the things you love and the people you love. Okay, that's it. Things you love, people you love. Your whole world will transform. Why? Because your focus will be people you love and things you love. Okay, you won't be talking about things you don't like. Because when you think about things you don't like and you speak about things you don't like, pretty soon you start going through things you don't like. Why? Because you're attracting it. How do you attract it? The superconscious. Okay, so God or the superconscious works on what's in your subconscious, the things you believe. Okay, let's take a look at the subconscious tree. Okay, the roots of the tree are your core beliefs, what you believe to be true. Now, this starts when you're born till age 7. Okay, by age 7, you're not even part of consciousness until 7. Okay, by age 7, you have your first paradigm. What's the paradigm? Okay, so the roots of the tree are your core beliefs, what you believe to be true. The trunk of the tree is your paradigm. Okay, so your first paradigm is up until 7 years old. Now, whatever happened to you in those years, okay, were those good years? Hopefully. So if you have children, if you have young children, be really, really good to them. Give them good, positive experiences until they're 7. Okay, well, hopefully always, but especially till they're 7, because that will program them for the rest of their lives. Okay, why is that? Well, because that's their fundamental paradigm. Okay, and this is the first paradigm they get. So what happens with that paradigm? Well, that paradigm from 0 to 7 years, okay, always gets referenced somehow. Okay, unless they change the whole thing, which is very rare in people. Very few people have reprogrammed their entire subconscious. Okay, more like 15%, some of them more like 20%, like that. Okay, so I want to catch up with this over here. Let's see, 4 new messages. There we go. I want to keep current with our chat. So anyway, so 0 to 7 years old. Okay, now that paradigm gets referenced a lot in adulthood. Okay, now the trunk of the tree is your paradigm. What's your paradigm? It's the way you see the world. It's your attitude towards the world based upon the roots, what you believe. Okay, the fruits of the tree in the Bible, right? It says, you shall know them by their fruits. What are the fruits? The actions. Don't pay attention to what people say. Watch what they do. Okay, watch their body language. Watch their micro expressions. Okay, I used to work with some pretty hostile and toxic environments. Very competitive. Okay, very ego oriented, and I had to survive. And that meant when I went back to my office, because I had companies, and I went to work for, actually it was my company that was contracted to a radio station. And so I had to come back to my office and sit in my chair and close my eyes and meditate and just throw the energy off. That's how bad it was. And I was only there for 4 hours in the morning. Okay, it was radio. It was a 4-hour radio show, and I had to shake it off every day when I was done. I had to detox from the toxicity every day. Okay, because these things get in your subconscious. Now, if I would have absorbed all of that into my subconscious, then it starts to repeat. Then I would be like the people that I was around. Okay, but I didn't let that happen. How do you not let things get in your subconscious? Say no and say stop. Silently in your head. So when somebody's telling you about their bad, let's say they're talking about a bad day, or they're talking about an illness, right? I'm getting older, so people I run into my mom and her friends, and oh, auntie, how are you? And she'll go like for 20 minutes on well, I had this thing. I went to the doctor and then, right? Okay. The drama, the health drama. Okay. When somebody starts doing this and you engage, you join. Okay. So you engage in the conversation. Okay. How are you joining? Energetically. Okay. Because you have a visual of what they're talking about, you have a picture of what they're talking about. You're identifying with whatever drama they're talking about. When I say drama, I just mean negative things that you don't need. Okay? You're engaging with that. What does that do? It goes into your subconscious, and what? Because you start thinking about it. And then what happens? Well, your subconscious looks for confirmation, right? Your subconscious goes, oh, yeah, wow, Auntie, Auntie's, 75 years old and she has aches and pains. Do you have aches and pains? And you start thinking about, yeah, do I have aches and pains? You see? Comparisons. Okay? Because your subconscious is trying to identify. And when you identify, oh yeah, I have aches and pains. Oh yeah, I'm having the same symptoms Auntie's having, right? This is why those TV commercials are no good for you. The ones that talk about medicine, right? And then they say, oh, side effects include this, 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 this. And you hear the side effects, and what do? You go, oh, I have that. I have that. Yeah. Oh, maybe I have this. Maybe I need this medicine. You see? Now, there's no conspiracy that the pharmaceutical companies are putting these commercials on to make you feel bad or to, you know, in Hawaii, we say make you any kind. It's not that, okay? It's not that. But these things are surrounding you. Okay, and this is what we talked about, the body and the spirit. You're in here, your spirit is in here, but your spirit gets affected by all this man made stuff. Okay, the media, the TV news, the bad news. Okay, why? Because we like bad news, right? All of that, but it gets in your subconscious. If you don't want it in your subconscious, say stop in your head while they're talking to you. Okay? Because why? Because you're forming a visual in your head about what they say. One of my careers was comedy on the radio, and my comedy was drawing pictures, drawing images with words in people's heads because it's radio. Okay? I was a professional. Okay? And and this knowledge helped me. This knowledge helped me do it. And everybody goes, wow, wow, it was so funny. Well, yeah, it's the words that you use. Okay? So if you're listening to somebody telling you about their illness, about somebody died and how sad they are, how depressed they are, okay, empathize. You can show empathy without getting involved in subconscious belief. When you start thinking the thought over and over, maybe Auntie has cancer, okay? And now you're thinking about Auntie because you love Auntie, okay? But what's the topic? Cancer, okay? Think about Auntie, no problem. Help Auntie, no problem. Give money to Auntie, no problem. Be there for Auntie, no problem. But cancer is where you should draw the line, okay? Because you can think of Auntie and not think of cancer. Okay? You can be empathetic and not embrace all the negative details. You can compartmentalize these things. You can separate these things. How do you do that? Well, when you start thinking about the disease or what's wrong or the negativity part, the bad part, just say no, just say stop in your head and refocus. Very simple. Now, the reticular activating system in your brain stem, okay, it's a filter. And this filter prioritizes things that match your beliefs. Okay, so let's say you believe that money is scarce. Okay, this reticular activating system in your brain stem, okay, will start to filter out things that show prosperity, things that show abundance, money wise. And it will start to show you scarcity. And you'll start to notice when the TV news has a story on it that talks about, the economy's bad. You know, when you're in a store, it will single out conversations and you'll hear people talking about money in a negative way. Not enough money, or things are so expensive. Oh my God, did you see how much they want for a gallon of milk? You see? If you're not aware of these things, you're just being programmed. But you're not just being programmed from the outside like this. That's where it starts. Your subconscious is trying to do you a favor. So your subconscious is like, oh, money is a problem? Okay. And it will start to focus on money is a problem. So you can choose which one you want. You can choose which way to go. Money's abundant or money's a problem. Money's an issue. Not enough money or more than enough money. Your reticular activating system will start to filter out, start to filter priorities, whatever the priority is, whatever the focus is. And it will match your beliefs, goals, and repeated thoughts. It will look for things. So in other words, the thing, good morning, face of change. Hey, how's it? In Hawaii, we say, how's it? How's it means, how is it? How's it going? So anyway, so let's take a look at what the reticular activating system does and how I normally explain it. Okay, like you're online. Okay, and this is how it moves into the real world. Okay, because you take things that you see online and put them in your real world, your physical world, without even knowing. Okay, and things start to bother you in the real world, and guess where you got it from? You saw it online. Okay, here's how it goes. Okay, so you have one of these, okay, and you're scrolling, okay, and you see a car. Maybe it's a red Corvette. Let's take a red Corvette today. Okay, I always say BMW. Let's take red Corvette. You see a red Corvette and you go, wow, I like that car. That is a cool car. So you click the like button. Well, on here, there's an algorithm. On here, right, the algorithm will start feeding you Corvettes. Okay, they might not be red, but they'll be Corvettes. They'll be cars. Okay, and pretty soon you start liking the Corvettes because you think they're cool. Okay, what happens? Well, the algorithm keeps feeding you that. Then what happens? Well, your subconscious, because there's repetition, because your subconscious can tell when there's repetition, it starts to memorize the fact that you like that. Okay, now all it wants to do is show you more of what you like. That's all. So this is how you can use it to your advantage. Okay? This is not rocket science. It is science, but it's not rocket science. It's not that difficult. And that's why I'm breaking it down so you can understand, so you can do it, you can change your life easily. Easily. Okay? So here's how it works. So now you're in the Corvettes here. Well, your reticular activating system, in conjunction, or let's say in association, or let's say in alignment with your subconscious, goes, hey, yeah, red Corvette. And then guess what? You're driving down the street, right? Hey, there's a red Corvette. And you notice, okay? Because your reticular activating system is a filter. It will filter in red Corvettes. It will filter out other cars. Because it knows that, oh, you thought this red Corvette was cool. Okay, they describe this as a phenomenon. It's not a phenomenon. It's your reticular activating system. It's not magic. You're a human being. You're the highest life form on the planet that we know of. Okay? I don't care who you are. You're way more than you think. Way more. But not everybody will come out and say, okay, here's the secret, guys. Okay? But I'm letting you know, here's the secret. This is how to do it. It's not hard. Okay? Don't get trapped by all this stuff. And now you see it in the real world, and then what? And then you acknowledge it. Oh yeah, hey, there's a red Corvette. Wow. Oh, there's another one over there. Oh, there's one parked in the thing, and you're driving down the street, and maybe for a few days you start seeing more Corvettes. And what's the thought? I didn't know there were that many red Corvettes. Maybe I don't want a red Corvette. Everybody else has one. You see? And then what? Well, then maybe it's a blue Corvette. Same thing starts to happen. But you don't notice it because it doesn't happen like in volume all at once. It happens slowly. Okay? It happens in repetition. So everything happens in the subconscious in repetition. The reticular activating system learns in repetition. Okay, once the subconscious accepts whatever idea you're giving it as real or as important, okay, it begins to indirectly create pathways towards it. Indirectly. Okay? So maybe the idea becomes, oh, well, how could we get a red Corvette? Oh, maybe I could take out a loan. Oh, maybe I could, get a side hustle, get a side job. Maybe I could work nights. That'll give me enough money. Whatever that is. Okay. So it does this by influencing your behavior. Okay. Now you start, right? So whatever you believe in your subconscious, okay, this is why people cannot hide if you're a good observer. They cannot hide from you. Okay? Because you will see their behavior based upon what they believe in their subconscious. Okay? Because they start nudging, they have little nudges in your behavior. Okay? It starts to shape your body language. Okay? And this is all built around your beliefs, whatever you're believing at the time, or whatever you're thinking about at the time. Okay, this is why women spot men right away. Okay, at the nightclub, when the guys are trying to hit on the girls, they smoke them out right away. Okay, they're biologically equipped for that. It's called women's intuition. Okay, because we all have negativity bias, but women raise young. They give birth to babies. They're engineered to be mama bears. So what happens? Well, they have a higher, heightened sense of intuition. Why is that? Well, because they need to spot the danger. This is evolution. This is not anything else. We're humans, okay? So negativity bias, we already have it. Men and women have it. So we always look for the bad stuff first, okay? But women have a little bit more, a little sharper. Women are better thinkers. Okay, much better thinkers. But they can sense these things. So when guys are trying to pick up, women know. Okay, they play along, but they know. Especially if they have babies and those babies are boys. Okay, if somebody is, gentlemen, if a woman has raised boys, okay, you better really be up on your game or just don't play games. One of the two, okay? All right, so it also increases your intuition or your focus on whatever it is you're interested in, okay? And it opens your awareness to it, whatever it is. So if it's negative, it's going to amplify it. If it's positive, it's going to amplify it, okay? So just think about what the topic is. So what's bothering you? Get to the bottom of what's bothering you. When you get to the bottom of what's bothering you, go, yeah, it's that. Don't focus on it, okay? Then it's affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization away or opposite what's bugging you, okay? And that will begin to comfort you, okay? What's making you anxious? I work with so many people that are anxious. I pull them out of anxiety really quick. I pull people out of anxiety about the third session. Okay. And subconsciously, it needs to be like cemented in there, right? The idea of clarity, the idea of confidence. So we always recommend 12 sessions, which is 3 months, once a week for 1 hour. Cured. Yeah, I said cured. See, when you're aware of something and you get rid of it, now you know how to prevent it. Why? Well, because you went through the process of getting rid of it. Now you know how to prevent it. Okay? So you have this internal GPS. Okay? Conscious mind sets the destination, chooses the target. Okay, I want that. Let's call it a new car. Okay? I want that new car. I've done so many new cars. Oh my God. Since I did the first one in 2007, I've just had new car smell. I don't even think about it anymore. I just choose. I go into the dealer. I go, okay, I want this. Give me everything. I want that. Give me, whatever. Because everything comes to accommodate your choice. Okay, but people don't know that. And people are afraid, right? Fear. They've been taught to fear. They've been taught to fear money. They've been taught to fear opportunities. They've been taught to fear all kinds of stuff. Okay, the economy, fear the world, whatever, politics, everything. Okay, so they don't make these decisions with the conscious mind. So the conscious mind makes the decision. The subconscious mind here calculates the route. It starts to plan. Let's see, how can we get there? How can we do this? How can we get the money for it? How's the money gonna come? How are we gonna whatever? How? Okay? The how is God's job. God works with the subconscious. People try to figure out the hows with their conscious mind. Okay? So the conscious mind goes into the left hemisphere of the brain. Okay? How is this practical? How is this logical? Okay? If you believe in God, right? It's the right hemisphere of the brain. It's creativity, it's imagination, it's intuition, following divine guidance. Ask, believe, receive. Who are you asking? Divine guidance. You're asking whoever you believe is your higher power. Yeah, some people think it's Jesus Christ, some people think it's Allah, some people, okay, whoever. However, I'm not here to influence your belief system or tell you what to believe. I'm just here to tell you how the human being works. So the conscious mind makes the choice. Okay? It does the asking. Okay? Now, in repetition, the subconscious starts to believe the asking. The subconscious goes, oh, okay, new car? Oh, let's calculate the route to the new car. Let's see how we can get to the new car. Okay? Now, the superconscious is like, okay, how can we help this guy, the subconscious? How can we help the subconscious? And guess what happens? As you follow the guidance from the subconscious, the superconscious opens doors. It brings the right people, and you meet the right people. And then, boom, something happens. But you think it's coincidence if you don't have faith. Okay? Faith in whatever you believe is the superconscious for you. I just say superconscious because I'm not here to tell people how to believe, and everybody believes differently. Okay? You're entitled to your beliefs. So let me give you an example. Okay, I use the same example. If you guys heard it before, just go with it. Okay, for the new people, we have a lot of people, especially on this platform. We have tons. Okay, so let's say, for example, you want to work at XYZ company. Okay, so now you're thinking, wow, yeah, that would be really cool. They have a lot of benefits. They have good everything, right? Good people. Whoa, thank you. Thank you. Who did that? Thank you. Oh, okay. Listening seamstress. The listening seamstress. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, XYZ company. You start thinking XYZ company. Maybe you write an affirmation. I am so happy and grateful now that I am working at XYZ company. Thank you. And maybe it's the position that you include, okay? I'm an accountant at XYZ company. Thank you. Now what do? Well, you write it in the morning when your brain is still in theta state. Okay, that's relaxed before you have coffee, before you get out of bed. Okay, so I keep a legal pad right by my bed so I jot down these things. Okay, there's a science to this. And then in the evening, before you turn off the light to go to bed, your brain is already relaxed. You're ready to put your head on your pillow. Pick up your tablet and read it out loud because your subconscious hears you. Okay? There's a reason why they say God spoke the universe in the world into existence, right? In the book of Genesis. It's telling you something. Okay? It's telling you that you can speak things into existence. This is why, people that speak against people all the time, right? Pretty soon they have low self-esteem, low self-confidence. Why is that? Because their subconscious is listening, and all that filth that they're, right? You see people write that stuff online. Well, people speak it out loud, and they speak it against people. They speak against people. Karma is real through your subconscious. Your subconscious is recording everything you do, everything you say, everything you think. So when you have these bad thoughts, okay, you see somebody, you're like, and whatever you say, whatever you think, right? Now your self-esteem goes down. Okay. Now you start doubting yourself. Okay, doubt and fear, right? Takes you away from manifestation. Okay, now you start doubting. Now you start fearing. Why? Well, I don't know. You just don't feel good, right? Why? Because you're giving all this stuff out that way with, from here out there. Okay? Now you've developed a complex. How come? Because your subconscious is intelligent and it just takes orders, right? If you're saying F him, the subconscious is like, oh, F him? Okay. Like, that's what we're doing? Okay. Okay? But then what happens? Well, then it's, right? It's you that gets affected. Why? Because what goes around comes around in your subconscious. Okay? All right, you get it. All right. So now the superconscious goes, okay, so and so believes, right? Okay, the superconscious is not looking at you, all right? The superconscious is in you. But the superconscious goes, okay, so XYZ is the target. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to open doors and bring the right people in for XYZ. But you don't know this. You're unaware of this, okay? But you are awareness, and we are all plugged into the superconscious as awareness. And this is how God is real. Okay? God is in here. God is awareness, okay? Or consciousness, however you want to say it. Source, consciousness, God, however you want to say that. And now what? Well, now you're at the gym 2 weeks later. After writing your affirmation for 2 weeks, it's cemented. It's starting to get into your subconscious. It takes 66 days, okay? 2 months. But after 2 weeks, it already starts working. You can feel this. You can feel the shift for 2 weeks. Just write an affirmation. Don't use any negatives. Start it with I am. Okay? I am. You are. Okay? I am. It refers to your being. In the book of Isaiah, right, God presents himself to Moses. He says, tell the people of Israel, I am sent you. Okay, that's your clue. I am. So after 2 weeks, right, you start going, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, and you feel better about it, right? You feel like, yeah, that's the target. Yeah, that's going to happen. What happens? Well, you're at the gym, and you meet somebody, and you guys are just talking casually, and then all of a sudden, right, it's like, hey, where do you work at? Oh, I work at XYZ company. Oh, wow, I was thinking of working there. And the guy's like, yeah, I'm in HR. We have openings. Come on and apply. And then you feel better about doing it. Now you're brave. Now you have an invitation. Now the door is opening. So you go to XYZ company, and in 2 weeks, you're working at XYZ company. And most people will say, "Oh, that's a coincidence. Oh, what a coincidence! I just met this guy, and what a coincidence!" But they don't see under the hood. They don't see under the surface. Okay, especially I know so many people that are religious. Okay, they go to church. They have to be seen in the best clothes every Sunday at church, and whatever that kind of thing. Okay, but they don't believe in themselves. They don't believe in the kingdom within. So when things like this happen, what do they say? They, oh, wow, just coincidence, and this thing just happened. You don't hear them say, well, God, some of them, right? Not all of them. Some of them tell you, they go, well, the Lord brought this to me. Jesus made this happen. Yeah, Jesus lives in here. God lives in here. Oh, God made this happen, made this person, and this led to that led to this, and then boom, my dream. Yeah, that's the way it works. Okay. How often do you come on live? Every day at this time. Oh, first time. Legacy, welcome. Everybody, welcome, Legacy. Welcome, Legacy, on the chat here. Jay, welcome, Legacy. I come on every morning at this time, Hawaii time. But I'm breaking it down for you guys this way so you see that this is not hard to do. You're just being hypnotized from exterior things that have been manufactured by someone else's in here. Okay? That's all that's out there. Nature and things from someone else's in here. And you're looking at these things and you're getting intimidated. Why? Because they seem 10 feet tall. They're not 10 feet tall. You're 10 feet tall. Go look in the mirror. That's your miracle. But you think it's no big thing because you have begun to identify yourself as the body instead of the spirit. That's why. I recognize that this is just my body, okay? And I use these things to play guitar. I use these things to write. Okay? I use these things to teach. Okay? But I recognize that in here I can attract anything. I was telling Jay the other day, we were talking about energy and the subconscious and how you can imprint the subconscious right away with energy. And just as a joke, I said, bring money, right? I wanted to see if it would work. And money showed up. I'm not kidding. Money showed up. Okay. I'm not flexing. You can do this too. Try it. Try it. Okay. But you have to do it with energy. Okay. So do it somewhere where nobody can hear you. Okay. Anyway, we're going to continue this tomorrow. We're going to talk about pathways in action. We're going to talk about how the subconscious leads you to what you want, to your desires and what you were thinking. Okay. Because it's important that you know this because it's easy to do, okay? Because you have done this anyway, okay? You have done this anyway. We're going to talk about the special in a second, okay? Hang on, you guys. And it's easy to do, okay? It's just a process, that's all. Okay, affirmations, meditation, focalization, visualization. Put my name in any browser, put my name in any AI and go teaching method next to it. Right, Junior Kekuewa Jr. teaching method, and you'll get the whole thing. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to see me, whatever. If you want to see me, I'll see you. I'll help you. I will release you from what Bob Marley calls mental slavery, okay? Because it is. Because you're identifying with something that's maybe making you feel bad, making you feel limited, making you feel powerless, because things out here in the physical world look big, okay? And we tend to look at ourselves as small. Okay, but you got to turn that around if you want to do anything significant in life. Okay, this has to be number one. Outside here in the physical world, that has to be number two. Okay, so tomorrow again at 7 a.m. Hawaii time, we want to say love and aloha to all you guys on Streamlabs and our affiliates. We have 7 platforms every morning. So